else, didn't you? Kiss the feet of the Zionists to ensure their election victory, he added. Ahmadinejad added that, quote, liberating Palestine would solve all the world's problems, although he did not elaborate on exactly how that might work. And so anyway, at least he's being honest about it. And here is a story that was on FoxNews.com. Georgia lumberyard owner hammers Obama on "you didn't build that." President Obama's message to entrepreneurs, pardon my French, that "you didn't build that" prompted one Georgia business owner to respond with a not-so-subtle retort. "I built this business without government help. Obama can kiss my," and he doesn't say feet here, reads the sign outside Gaster Lumber and Hardware in Savannah, Georgia. Owner Ray Gaster posted that and two similar ones at all three of his company's locations in response to Obama's comments during a speech to supporters in Virginia, which struck a nerve with small business owners around the nation. And I'll tell you what, I think you really need to appreciate Barack Obama. I think you need to appreciate Obama for what he says and what he does, because so far, Barack Obama has been the single most important factor in waking people up to the stupid stuff that's going on in this country. It was Barack Obama who birthed the Tea Party. It was Barack Obama who birthed the whole Chick-fil-A thing that we went to yesterday. That came from Obama, because Obama comes out and says, I think I've changed my opinion. I think gay marriage is really where it's at. I think I'm in support of this. You know, it just now came to me, which he's lying through his teeth. He's always thought that way. But he is the one that provoked the owner of Chick-fil-A to come out and say, we believe it's wrong. We believe it's an abomination in the sight of God. And so now Chick-fil-A has got people lined up for 3 blocks down the road, people going in there to eat chicken sandwiches, and Barack Obama started this. And now you have another mini revolution going on of people who own a small business, a company or a family-owned business like Gaster Lumber. And you need to understand that your town is still full of privately owned businesses. Just because Walmart moved in and put the shoe people out of business, and just because they put the sporting goods people out of business, doesn't mean that there still are not privately family-owned, what we call mom and pop businesses around this country. And these are just hardworking Americans who don't feel like that the government owes them a living. And so they just felt like if they wanted to get ahead, these are people that probably at one time used to work for the man and got paid by the hour, and decided, I want more than that. I can work harder than this, and I can achieve this for myself. And they went out and did it. And for the mere fact that their business that they started and that they worked at was successful, the fact that their business that they worked 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day was successful, then because it was successful and they grew, then they went and hired other people and gave them jobs. That's how the economy is supposed to work. It's supposed to be built upon the success of entrepreneurs who go out and make a lot of money, and they say, you know what, we're doing well, I'm going to hire some people to help me out so I can go to bed at a decent hour. And that's what they do. And so they hire people, and Obama has this slave plantation mentality that the evil business owner grabbed slaves out of the cotton patch and forced them to work for him for 2 cents an hour. And that this business owner owes them a whole lot more money than what he's giving them. He owes them that. I remember being at the first Tea Party meeting in St. Louis. There was like 10,000 people there. And a man that I've known for several years in this town, he runs a satellite business. He runs, and it's a successful business. And I've known him and his wife for several years, and they just quit their jobs and started this satellite installation company, Dish Network, DirecTV, and all the internet satellites and things like that for people out in the country that can't get cable. And so they started this business. He's got vans running all over our county. And he was in a conversation, an argument with some hippie looking, and you've seen these people. They don't comb their hair so it turns into dreadlocks. And they were standing there protesting the Tea Party people, holding up signs about socialism and how it was good. And he was telling these people, look, you don't understand something. He said, I treat my employees good, and I don't want anybody telling me that I have to, because I do it already. He said, I pay their health care. I pay their bills. I pay them a good wage. I don't have to, but I do because they earn it, because they deserve it, and because I can afford to. And he doesn't want Washington messing that up for him, but Washington's messed it up for him. And so anyway, I credit the fact that there were millions of people at Chick-fil-A yesterday. That falls right into the lap of Barack Hussein Obama. The fact that small business owners are probably going to vote this guy out of office, hopefully, in November. The fact that these small business owners will not put up with this, and let's just say that most of Congress too, being flushed out, you can lay it in the lap of Barack Hussein Obama. And the fact that he's stirring up people now, because he called himself a Christian in the election, but now we know that he's not, and he stirred me up for sure. Speaking of Obama, here's an article I had pulled up from the other day. A fellow professor with Barack Hussein at the University of Chicago in the 1990s told radio host Laura Ingraham last week that the man who would become president once insisted, quote, people shouldn't be allowed to own guns. That professor was John Lott, already known then as a leading gun rights advocate, now author of several books, including More Guns, Less Crime. He said, I knew Obama at the University of Chicago, Lott told Ingraham. We both taught there at the same time for about 4 years, and I talked to him about guns, and I know what his views are on that. For the first time I ever met him, I went and introduced myself, and he said, oh, you're the gun guy, Lott recalled. He said to me, I don't believe people should be able to own guns. And that goes exactly back to the point that I was making in the last week's Watchman broadcast about the murderer. Is that the idea to remove guns out of the Philistines want the guns out of everybody's hands except the elite and except those in government, because they'll take care of us, and I don't believe that for a second. Not for a second. J.C. Penney. There's an article out on Daily Finance. J.C. Penney's latest leap, retailer to ditch cash registers and cashiers. Cash registers could join the ranks of payphones and typewriters sooner than you think. J.C. Penney will say farewell to cash registers, checkout counters, and cashiers by 2014, said Ron Johnson, the chain's chief executive officer, during the Fortune Brainstorm Tech Conference. Penney's plan evokes Apple's mostly cash register-free stores, and that comes as little surprise. Johnson was the head of Apple Retail and is considered the mastermind behind his success. He left Apple in November to take the top spot at J.C. Penney. And so what has that got to do with anything? Well, it has this idea of Revelation. Let me get my can here, my can of King James. And that phrase is taken off. I think Jazz secured a website name called canofkingjames.com. There's nothing on it. But anyway, we own it now. Revelation chapter 13. The Bible says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And here's wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 6. 60 is 3 times 20, which is 60, in case you don't know that. Okay, I know that. I learned it. But anyway, moving toward a cashless society, mark of the beast system undoubtedly on the way. I've got a serious thing to talk about just for a minute today, and it just really saddens my heart. It was billed as a mega church. In fact, the article from theblaze.com says, married megachurch pastor fired. This is a big church, but when I think of mega church, I'm thinking coffee shop and torn blue jeans from the preacher. So anyway, but I deal with this not in a harsh and critical way, because I have been telling people for years that the devil is going after preachers. Okay? He goes after me. He goes after, especially if these preachers stand for the King James, stand for the Bible, the devil's going to go after these guys. Jack Hiles of First Baptist Church, Hammond, Indiana, pastored that church for years. Himself was accused of having an extramarital affair. Nobody really knows the truth on it. Jack Hiles does, and he's dead now. Did he have the affair? I don't know. I heard both sides of the story back in when I was in Bible college, and I just kind of went, that's not really for me. But anyway, Jack Hiles was a staunch defender of the King James Bible. I listened to a couple, so I never was a big Jack Hiles fan. I had a roommate in college that was a freshman, and I was a junior. Juniors in college get to stay up or get to stay in bed longer than the freshmen. Freshmen have to get up early and go to early classes. And this freshman Bible college roommate that I had would get up at 5:30 every morning and get ready and brush his teeth and sit down and play Jack Hiles tapes at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was very unappreciative of his spirituality at the time. Didn't have anything to do with Jack. But anyway, I've heard some things from Jack Hiles that I didn't like, I didn't agree with, but that's neither here nor there. It's no big deal. I'm not Jack Hiles' judge. But anyway, Jack died, and the one who took over for him, Jack Schaap, S-C-H-A-A-P, apparently married Jack Hiles' daughter, and then became pastor of First Baptist Church, Hammond, Indiana. And so the article says churches are far from immune when it comes to scandal. This is the sad reality that it has hit First Baptist Church of Hammond, Indiana, where Dr. Jack Schaap, 54, the pastor there for the past 11 years, is under fire. The allegation being waged against him that the married pastor and father of two had an intercourse relationship with a 16-year-old female church member. And so anyway, as for Schaap's case, it appears a deacon saw a text message on the pastor's phone from the teenager, allegedly at the center of the scenario. The image purportedly showed the faith leader and the young girl kissing. During a board of directors meeting on Wednesday evening, the church leader said that Schaap subsequently admitted to having an affair with the young woman. On Tuesday, the church put out a brief press release entitled "The First Baptist Church Pastor Dismissed." While it failed to go into explicit details, the information presented within corroborated the fact that Schaap is no longer working at the church. Quote, "At this time, we deeply regret the need to announce that First Baptist Church has dismissed our pastor due to a sin that has caused him to forfeit his right to be our pastor," the release reads. First Baptist Church is in full cooperation with our local authorities in their investigation of this matter. Our church grieves over the need to take this action and the impact it will have on our people. And I say this not in sneering, not in condemnation, not in anything like that. You pray for this man, and you pray for his family, and you pray for his church, and you pray for every pastor and every church. Every pastor and every church that is standing for the Bible, that is standing for the truth in these last days, because they are going to be targeted. And it's not the Illuminati. The Illuminati did not brain manipulate or brainwash a 16-year-old girl to sneak into that church and blah, blah, blah. There's a devil that's in charge of this. It's sin is what it is. And the devil will try to bring men of God down, including this one. And so you pray for this church and pray for these people. A lot of people now influenced by this are going to be disillusioned at this, and it requires our prayer. Let's see here. I want to change frequencies. No, I don't want to change frequencies. That's contemplative prayer. Was kind of doing something, putting together the script, the PowerPoints and things like that for this weekend's thing. And